Hey everyone, so I'm here today with Amy, and Amy is my Juice Plus representative. If you're not familiar with Juice Plus, it's a great product. But she and I had gotten to talking a little while back about why we're so passionate about what we do. And one of the reasons that we're both so passionate is because we really truly believe in the benefits of having a healthy diet that includes lots of fruits and vegetables. And so that's kind of a parallel of what we do. And I thought today, one of the things that we could discuss was go back and forth and just talk about why it's so important. We all know it's important for our diet, but there's a lot of science behind this and in showing that our typical American diet isn't really working anymore. And so both of us strive to make that part of our clients' diets and give them whole health and better overall health. So hi, Amy. Thanks for being here. So is there anything you wanted to say as an intro?
I am a mother of two teenagers, a busy wife, and I have been a babysitter, PTCO mom, and a gardener for my whole life. Now, most of my stuff indoors, like the regular houseplants and stuff, I totally kill. But for some reason, I'm really good with gardens, and I think it's because I was raised with gardens in our life, which you don't see a lot of today. And so that's what brought me to you. And you have those amazing gardens. And I have found some amazing indoor gardens with Juice Plus. So I think that's why we fit so well together in our friendship.
Yes, and there's also, we'll show some pictures of her indoor garden too. I know some of you all, my client base, have asked about certain setups, and I'm pretty jealous. We were just talking a second ago. I'm really excited to get one of these because, in my opinion, it's the best indoor setup that I've seen that actually works pretty easy for a family. So Amy, I'm going to go ahead and start our slideshow and share my screen here so you can talk a little bit about what you do and a little bit about kind of your products and how they intersect so well with everything that we do as well. Give me 1 second to find it here. All right, so now I've opened our slideshow. And so Amy, if you want to go ahead and just start talking about your slides, and then I'll advance forward whenever you cue me.
All right. So, guys, we used to be a community of families where we played outside all day. We drank water from the hose. We were gone until night, and you ate home prepared meals that a lot of times, especially in, the summertime months, you had all the fruits and vegetables come out of your family's garden that was in your backyard. But things have changed in our world, and there are actually very two startling trends. And one is that our environmental toxins are increasing every day. We have water pollution, um, that goes up, evaporates into the air, comes back down as rain. It gets into, our dirt. Our dirt is being over farmed. Our soil is becoming depleted more and more every day on top of these increasing environmental toxins. But then we also have our food quality decreasing. So if you look at, years ago, we said, oh, you should have 4 to 5 servings of fruits and vegetables per day. And now it is actually 7 to 13. And that's a lot, guys. 7 to 13 fist size portions of fruits and vegetables every day because we have this depleted soil. We're adding preservatives and flavor enhancers and all sorts of stuff to our foods because we're picking them before they're ripe and we're sending them across the country. So not only do we have, these issues with our soil depletion and we're also increasing our food toxicity because, all the emissions from all these trucks shipping across country is just adding back into that first part. And it's so sad to see, you look at fruits and vegetables now and you go, why are they, either great big giant or little itty bitty and shriveled up? It doesn't seem to be any natural in between anymore. So let's go to the next slide real quick.
While we're here, Amy, I just want to comment a little bit on exactly what you were saying. From my perspective, when you're looking at farmers and the things that you find in the grocery stores, I'm really big on unique varieties. It's one of the things that I really love about vegetable gardening because you can plant things you can't find in the store. Um, and one of the things that's happened as we've become more accustomed to agriculture is we have certain standards. You hear a lot about food waste because we have standards of exactly what things should look like. I've had a few clients grow carrots and they'll be kind of bent, and some of them kind of swirl around and connect to one another and they'll panic and they'll say, what's wrong? Is there a disease? And no, that's how carrots grow. But we are so in our culture accustomed to things have to look a certain way. And what you said too, I find really, really important is that the food quality has gone down. So if you go out and you pick a tomato when it's green, it's going to have a different nutrient profile than when it's fully ripe. If you have a Roma tomato, it's going to have a different nutrient profile than, say, a Better Boy tomato. And because we're so used to what we see in the grocery store, we're only eating certain varieties and they're all picked early. And there's a lot of data that backs up that it's not as nutritious for us, which is why now we're saying we need this dramatic increase in produce in our diets, which is sad and kind of scary too, for all of us who are trying to feed a healthy family.
Yes. And then, with this increase in um, need for more fruits and vegetables because the decrease in quality, we're now spending even more money too at the store because like I could buy 4 apples, some blueberries, and some carrots and spend $6 easily. And that's going to last me a whole 1 to 2 days in my family. And so I'm not getting a very wide variety and I'm getting not so good quality food out of it too. So,
All right.
all right. So, this is about oxidative stress. And let me just go ahead and say we all have oxidative stress every single day just from breathing in oxygen. It gets even more if you are eating foods that are lower quality for you. It also, you're going to have more oxidative stress if you exercise or you have too much oh goodness, what was I going to say? Sorry, anyway, too many free radicals, I guess,
Yeah.
floating around in your body. That's what the oxidative stress is, and the oxidative stress is what makes you sick. It hurts your cells. So you can see the gal on the screen, and on the right, this is her protected side, and she's protected from antioxidants. The picture on the left would be if she wasn't protected by antioxidants, and antioxidants are found in fruits and vegetables. So here we are back again at why we should eat more fruits and vegetables. You are going to get antioxidants into your body that help protect your cells from all those free radicals. And it's the same with like this apple. We've squeezed lemon juice on one side of it because that is a antioxidant that comes from a fruit and it's protecting the apple. So we need to help protect our DNA, protect our cells by eating more fruits and vegetables and flooding our body with all that goodness.
And when I was looking at this picture earlier today too, I was thinking, so I suffer from eczema and other skin related things when I get stressed out. And I always think to myself, that's the physical part that we're seeing of this. So if you have an unhealthy diet, your skin might not look as good, your hair might not be as healthy. But the thing that I think is easier to forget is that's just a reflection of everything going on inside of your body too. And we have such a focus on the outward appearance, but that's not nearly as scary as what could potentially be going on if you're eating this kind of traditional American diet, basically.
It's very true. All right. And so here we kind of get back to the, did you know part of it? 7 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables. So there it is again. Guys, I'm not perfect and I don't think any of us are. We still slip up, but trying to get at least some fruits and vegetables into our diet every single day and then just working your way up from there is a great way to get started. So just keep in mind that it's about direction, not perfection. Okay. We just do what we can. And with Juice Plus, we like to try to help get you even more fruits and vegetables in with our awesome, gummies or capsules, which I'll talk more about here in a minute. And we also have a really cool tower garden. And then Laura helps teach people about how to get that home garden going outside too with more nutritionally fit soil. So
And that's one of the things too, that when we've talked about here, how, and you can see the quote on here that some varieties have lost 5 to 40% of their nutrient content. And there's all kinds of studies. Harvard had a study that showed similar information. The New York Times did a brief article on it a while back. And certainly Amy and I are not doctors. This is just based upon things that we've read and, looked at. But that said, I do understand how having poor soil health leads to less healthy fruits and vegetables. You'll hear this a lot about eggs too. This is another common thing that people talk about, why some eggs have more nutrition than others. And it's based on the diet of the hen that lays the eggs. And it's the exact same thing. If you have just commercially available fertilizer and they're missing macronutrients, your plants might still grow and look okay, but the nutrient availability isn't there inside of your plant either. And this is why I find it so profoundly important that we all have some access, whether it's just a small herb garden or a giant vegetable garden, to some of the foods that are growing in the way that's controlled by us, that has less of the environmental contaminants in it, that we like, that we actually enjoy doing, and that we can get a more nutritious product out of it as well.
all right, guys. So phytonutrients are what makes up our food. They are all the vitamins, minerals, stuff like that, that you are going to find in every single fruit and vegetable that you eat. So what I like to show here is that, you could be like, oh man, I loved growing in my garden over the summer, but now it's winter. So I guess I better take a multivitamin to try to get some of that extra nutrition in. And that may work for some people. For me, it doesn't, because my body doesn't absorb multivitamins very well. So for me, food is the best medicine. And an apple actually has over 10,000 nutrients in it, where if you will look at a multivitamin label, they may have 30 to 50, if you're lucky, supplements that have been either pulled out of food, or it's man-made synthetic, actually, even. And that's a lot of the reasons why our bodies don't process multivitamins. So, the big picture here for me, for people to know, is that eating a wide rainbow of food is going to get you more phytonutrients of all different kinds, because an apple will have different phytonutrients than, say, cabbage or cherries or eggplant, because they're different colors, and that's what makes them their different colors. So that's why they always say eat the rainbow.
Mhm.
um, and it's true. And it really astounded me to find out and start learning and about how food affects um, our whole bodies. And they've got a whole study now. It's a field of study, I guess. It's epigenetics. And if you guys ever have a chance to go check into it, it's a rabbit hole, but it's a good one. And it talks about how the food we eat and the lifestyle that we live affects our DNA. It's like little light switches that you can turn on and off, and it can help protect us from all sorts of things. Most notably, immune system wise, inflammation. And inflammation, guys, it causes all sorts of havoc in our bodies. It'll cause heart disease, cancers, all sorts of stuff. So,
Yeah, and I think this is so
apple a
profound
day.
too, because when I encourage people to, obviously you want to plant the things that you love the most, but what's interesting is that I don't know if any of you, and this is going off in a little rabbit hole of its own, but I've ever been to an orchard. We went to a peach orchard once in Palisade, Colorado, and there were multiple orchards, and all of them had different varieties of peaches. And I thought that was really interesting, because when you go to the grocery store, there's a few, right? We have white peaches and we have yellow ones, but you're talking like we see reflected 3 or 4 things that are all this representation of a peach. And I thought it's almost like we're lying to ourselves and thinking that there's one type of peach, like that's what you grow. And it's the same thing, one type of carrot, and that's what you grow. There's multiple different types They're farmed and harvested at different times, so there's reason for it. You might want an earlier peach and then to have your other half of your orchard be a later one. But the point being that this is so profound because all of these little macronutrients that are in our fruits and vegetables, or if you get an heirloom vegetable, why it tastes so much different than a conventional one. And some of these compounds we don't really even understand yet. This is such a new, nutrition is such an interesting and ever evolving science. But such a good reason, again, to include more healthy produce in your diet every single day.
All right, guys. So with Juice Plus, I made mention earlier that we put our fruits and vegetables in either little capsules or gummies. They are tasty gummies too, by the way.
They're good. They're really good.
Yeah, if I would have known about them years ago when my kids were littler eating fruit snacks, I totally would have swapped out for this in a heartbeat. But as you can see, there's over 30 whole foods in these 3 little capsules. And with that, each one of them has thousands of phytonutrients to give you all that protection and antioxidants. Um, it is micronutrition from whole food. We contract with certain farmers. They pick them at the peak of ripeness, so not beforehand to ship across country. It gets flash frozen within a couple of hours. And then it gets taken to our facility where they grind the whole fruit, like peel and all. And like you guys can see on here, lemon peel. Lemon peel is not something I just go out and eat, but it actually has more vitamin C in it than an orange does. And so that to me was astounding. I guess I just never knew that. I never realized that. Um, and so through a little bit of education and research, I have found out that there are a lot of things actually that you could get more benefit from the peel of than you would think. Um, so I don't know. Again, it goes back to the rainbow of food, and we can't always grow all of this where we live in particular. Like, I don't think I can grow grapes, and I don't even know what bilberries are. But I know I get them every day. So,
And I will, as a testament to, so I have 2 little kids. They are picky eaters. They're 4 and 5. The youngest one is going through a phase where if I made it, like it must be horrible. So one of the things, and some of that is just little kids, children in general, they go through these phases, but they love the gummies. And so at least I feel like I'm getting them something that's a little bit more wholesome than say like a Flintstone vitamin or something, which nothing to knock those because they take those too. But plus I just love this image because it shows kind of how much thought and care went into each of these combinations. So despite the fact that I eat fruits and vegetables at every meal, I grow them. We have year round a garden. But it never hurts to supplement more. And especially when you have a family, like I would have a vegan diet that was completely plant-based if it was just me. But I'm sustaining other human beings in my stead now. And so they they won't eat certain things. So this is a great way to kind of add into that if that's something that your kids struggle with as well.
all right, guys. And when you are getting all of these fruits and vegetables into your system in a wide variety, whether, please don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to tell you to replace your fruits and vegetables with Juice Plus. That's not it at all. This is about bridging the gap between what you aren't getting and what you should be getting, kind of like what you were saying, Laura. The byproduct of not having the mom guilt, one, that's amazing. But 2, there's other byproducts, and that would be improved cardiovascular wellness, immune support, reducing inflammation, your healthier skin, healthier gums, reducing the oxidative stress, and protecting your DNA, like I talked about earlier. And this really strikes near and dear to me because with my story, I've lost my mom at a very early age to cancer. We've had other cancers in our family and lots of diabetes. And my husband's side of the family has heart disease. It took his mom early too. And we don't want our kids to grow up without parents, without us. So we want to, not just protect ourselves, but also set up our kids to learn how to have that healthy lifestyle going forward. So that way they know where their food comes from. and they know how to eat properly, and they can be healthy for generations to come. So,
And I'll add to that. So my husband and I have been foster parents, and our kids are adopted. And when you're in the system, learning about the different ways to work with these children that have been through a lot in their lives, nutrition is becoming a much more forefront component of trauma care for kids. And there's a lot of data that's showing that if kids don't have adequate nutrition, that can actually lead to more tantrums, meltdowns, not wanting to go to sleep at night. And if anyone has been around a little kid, let alone a traumatized, 6-year-old kid, you know that any way you can level that out. And again, this is just the outward appearance of what's going on. What's triggering that is your brain is getting different nutrients from your different foods. So again, just a big push that this is becoming such an interesting field of study because we're finding it affects so many other things as well.
mhm. So growing your own health, whether you do it outside in your garden, whether you do it inside your house like me with a tower, you are going to be able to have not just the ability to teach your kids where things come from, but it teaches them patience. It teaches them that this is a source of food that is not compromised. So, like, I know that there was a lot of issues going on with with this last big snowstorm in the south where they lost power and people didn't have food. And we had a flood of stories come in at Juice Plus about these people who had tower gardens that said, thank you for helping me get this done. And I was actually growing stuff in my house. And now, while their tower garden probably was shut down for a while because of no electricity, they still had that food that was growing on there that they could it still let them eat from it, and gave them some food stability.
Mhm.
We at Juice Plus have two different types of tower gardens. um I have this one that we have pictured in here. I've got one
So
in my
here, I'm going to move to that slide. Yeah.
okay, so this is my one that's upstairs in my living room. It doesn't take up too much space, but we do have one that's even smaller that's meant for like apartment buildings and porches and stuff like that. But I also have one that's downstairs, and this thing will grow up to 30% more yield of food on 90% less water than some traditional gardening options. And a lot of people, man, if you live in a great big giant city and you need a garden, but you can't because you don't have land. All you have is just blocks and blocks and blocks of apartment buildings. Then these are the thing for you. Or maybe you want to pop the lights off of this and throw it outside one summer just to see what happens. But in addition to your regular garden, because of course there are things I can't grow in here, like tubers and stuff like that. Um, but I can grow a very wide variety of things in here. We've grown jalapeno peppers, bell peppers, cucumbers, all sorts of lettuces and leeks, and just much, much more. It's so much fun, and it's really easy to use. So
Well, I'm dying. I want one of these so badly now. And so like I said, we have a garden going year round. And so right now I have like 9 or 10 different varieties of things that are actively growing out there. What I don't have basil right now. Um, which I have one small little light that I keep some herbs under. So I have fresh herbs and I have microgreens all the time. But it's really nice to have a space for a full-size plant, even if it's just for herbs and greens. And then for things like jalapenos, which are not going to grow over the winter in Tulsa, where I am, to kind of supplement. But any of you who follow me probably know I always have all of these edible plants like poking out of every crevice of my yard and my house. But we don't have one of these because frankly, this is the first one that I've seen that I don't think is outlandishly priced in the thousands of dollars that still looks nice, that's very functional. And that has a really good system behind it because some of them either don't work very well or they're not priced or sized for most of us to actually use. So that's one of the reasons I really want one of these tower gardens. And I have a tower garden outside, but that's strictly for outside. But love that guy too.
Have you ever seen the live gardens at Epcot?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
if you have ever seen one of those, maybe we need to put a picture of it in the chat later. But
we should, because those are so cool.
the guy who made those happen, his name is Tim Blank, and he actually invented these tower gardens.
Oh, awesome. I didn't know
Yes,
that. That's
so,
fantastic.
so that's just a fun fact, I guess, but or at least fun for me. I don't know, but we
Fun for us gardeners.
exactly. So I think it's really cool, and it's a very unique system because it's aeroponic, which means it holds the water in the reservoir at the bottom. It pumps it up to the top, and then it rain trickles down, and then the roots grow on the inside. It's amazing.
It's so cool. They're so cool. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing now. So Amy, thank you for being with us. I think the big point we wanted to drive home from this is that there's lots of ways to incorporate all of these fruits and vegetables into your life. Both of us garden, we both do Juice Plus. So we did not mean this as a sales pitch type deal, but more of why we're impassioned and feel empowered to do what we do, because hopefully it gives everyone kind of an overview of just how important it is to really focus on this component of nutrition.
I agree. I mean, I spent many years being very sick, all the time. And since adding a healthier lifestyle, adding in the extra fruits and vegetables from the gardening, and everything else, it has made just a world of difference in our life, as well as our kids. Like our son has gone off his asthma medications almost altogether.
Um,
After years and years and years of struggling with it. So I can't wait to see what the future holds for everybody out there who's gardening. I can't wait to see some awesome new summer garden pictures from you and your site. So
yeah. So everyone, I'm posting this to Facebook, obviously. But Amy will be kind of monitoring the post too. So please, if you have any questions for us, send us questions. If you have other articles or information that you find pertinent, share those too. I think that there's probably a lot of us who are really kind of impassioned about the empowerment our food can provide for us. So we look forward from hearing from all of you. I'll certainly on my Facebook page post Amy's information down. So if you're interested in Juice Plus or a tower garden or any of that, if you think that would be a good lifestyle choice for you, you'll be able to get it there. But otherwise, Amy, thanks for being here and recording this with me. This was fun. And it's always good to talk with somebody who also can talk about plants for hours on end.
Well, thank you for having me. I super appreciate it. And we'll talk tomatoes later.
Sounds good. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.